who didn't grow up with their mother saying that somebody's gonna come get them if they don't behave, you know?
Yeah.
Girl, we grew up in danger. If us Latinos, since kids, we are terrified of life. Like everything's gonna eat us at night.
27 dead bodies, all shot in the head. And only one survivor.
I bet he's got one hell of a story to tell.
There are portals back and forth from one realm to the other. Problem is sometimes the portals don't close once they're open. If I don't leave here within the next 90 minutes, we are all going to be dead.
Obviously, we're big fans of your background.
Oh yeah.
I wonder why.
Love it.
I'm gonna say the Saint monster is one of the best designs. It is so cool.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Very cool. So this is an anthology. Obviously reminds you Tales of the Crypt, like one larger themed story surrounded by little stories. So can each of you tell me what inspired you?
Well, this all
Sure.
started with their idea. Yeah.
Well, I'll get a quick background of how the whole thing started, which was basically I worked with Epic Pictures in the past, and we had made an anthology called Tales of Halloween, and we wanted to find a new anthology that had its own particular voice. And to make a long story short, as we were kind of going through different anthology ideas, Alejandro jokingly said, "When are we going to make Satanic Hispanics the all Latino horror anthology?" And then that just sort of made me pause and go, "When are we going to make Satanic Hispanics the all Latino horror anthology?" So here we are.
There you are.
Talk about yours, Mike.
So my short is the wraparound, and I won't give away too much, but basically, at least the point of view that I kind of went in with it is that I feel wraparounds get ignored a lot in anthologies, and and I have this debate with people about like, oh, it's the stories that matter, the wraparound doesn't matter, and I was kind of like, look, the wraparound is what carries us through, and so I wanted to do something that introduced a character that we stayed with and we always would go back to, and then that was a story in unto itself. So the character of the traveler was something that I always had in mind, of a character that was wise and had traveled the world, but there was something that always made him run and always had him moving. And so what happens when that person gets trapped one day, and what is coming after him might show up. So that's the basis of mine.
And then for you, Alejandro, what was your the Hammer of Zanzibar?
Oh, the Hammer of Zanzibar. It's right here behind me.
It is so funny. We won't spoil it.
Yeah, that's why it's blurred in the background. But the Hammer of Zanzibar, I mean, originally I had this idea to make a feature film, and it's essentially what the main character tells in the story. That was supposed to be a whole feature film. And I wanted to tell it in chapters. I wanted to tell like this Tarantino approach, like Kill Bill, but with a horror movie, and tell it in different chapters. And the Hammer of Zanzibar was one of those chapters. And the idea specifically of the hammer was because I try to be authentic in everything I do, as much as some things can be authentic. In this case, everything that it's talked about in the short about the Cuban Afro religions is based in reality. The ceremony is based in reality. All these deities that are mentioned are based in reality. And as it happens, the Popo Bawa is also based in reality, and it's a real demon from Zanzibar. You can look it up. Has its own Wikipedia page. And I guess one day, like researching about demons, as you do sometimes, I ran into the Popobawa and I read about it, and I was like, this is so stupid. Why hasn't anyone done anything with it? And you cannot leave that kind of demon lying around me. So I had to do it. And also, as horror filmmakers, we like to keep our props. And for some stupid reason, I thought like keeping the Hammer of Zanzibar would be hilarious.
and it's hilarious. And that one's you and the vampire segment one are the funniest ones of all the segments. And then Gigi, yours is just downright scary.
Oh, thank you.
So freaky. So it's a nice balance, right? You have the humor, but then you also have like the serious. So what inspired you? Obviously, the traditions, sort of native traditions, right?
For sure. No, well, to give a little background, I mean, I've always loved all things of Mexican history, culture, mythology, but I was always curious why nobody has made a movie about nahuales. I've always wanted to tell something about it. It just never was the right time. And definitely when Mike and Alejandro approached me for this project, they definitely caught me in my 5 minutes of anger. I was in a very bad mood actually when Mike texted me about this because I was feeling so much rejection in the industry. I was just getting a no, a no, a no, a no, second place for a lot of things. I'm like, ah. So my self-esteem was actually pretty low right when Mike texted me. Can't believe I was thinking, do I even want to keep filmmaking? I never want to think like that again, but we all go through that phase at some point or another. So definitely those 5 minutes that Mike was like, yo, Satanic Hispanics, what do you think? Hermano, we're doing this. And I was like, so like, yeah, like I was just so angry and frustrated. I'm like, this is it, this is it. And so I think that's when a lot of people are like, wow, yours is very violent. And I think I was at the time, which is cool because everything I had done before is very horror comedy in a way, or it's very gory, very grindhousey, but it still has a lot of humor. And I wanted to just do something that's so unique and as grounded as possible, with a lot of political issues of Mexico that we face every day. So it was perfect time, right place. A match made in hell, I like to say.
I'm so happy. That worked out great. I'm so happy.
I'm so glad you texted me.
And when you watch something like this, you're reminding how rich the Latino culture is with mythologies and boogeyman stories. I mean, who didn't grow up with their mother saying that somebody's going to come get them if they don't behave? You know?
Yeah.
Girl, we grew up in danger. If us Latinos, since kids, we are terrified of life. You know, like everything's gonna eat us at night, literally. Even the hammer of Zanzibar is coming to you. You know, like you gotta watch out.
Yeah, watch out. I mean, everything is scary.
But that was part of the thing, was that we felt that a lot of the legends and myths of Latin America hadn't been explored. You get the Chupacabra, you get La Llorona, but that's about it, you know, and every country has a rich history of sea monsters and creatures that come out at night and creatures that kill drunk people. There's a whole series of those. Anyway, but there's there's really interesting stuff that's never been explored. And so it felt like an opportunity to I don't know these legends, so why don't we play with them?
Yeah, that's why the Saints was so refreshing, because it's taking part of what we know, because it's the Latino culture is very strange in that we believe in religion, but yeah, we believe in all these like satanic kind of beliefs. You know what I mean? Like we have to do we have to do the limpia, and we have to do
Totally.
all those crazy
occultism.
things. Yeah, occultism. Like it's kind of a dichotomy, isn't it? And this movie kind of brings that out.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because something I love to share is that from the title, the day that Mike messaged me, I was totally in, because I think the title is not only, it sounds funny, it sounds cool, but I think for some people are like, oh God, like it might be taken a little too seriously because of so much of the stereotype about Latinos, that it's interesting to kind of see that we played in almost like a double meaning and also making fun of the stereotype as well for us. I love the name. I will continue to speak about it because it's too good. It's too good.
Thankfully not too much, but we occasionally get a bit of criticism that we're presenting Latinos as Satanists and as occultists, and that's a horrible stereotype. And then I want to go do you know much about our history? Because there's a lot of occultism there. We're not making this shit up. This is not.
It's true.
Yeah, that's why for others it's going to be foreign, but for us Latinos, like, yep, that sums us up in and it's nice to be represented in the movies like Argentina and Mexico, and then you have Efren Ramirez, who's speaking, what language is he speaking?
Speaks a bunch.
A bunch, but the but that was a huge representation, was such a huge part of the thing, is that we wanted to not only see ourselves tell our stories behind the camera, but see different artists in front of the camera, and like I said, tell different sides of what the Latino story is, and not just be cartel stories or drug stories or border stories, but kind of expand that and not ram them. You could if you wanted. I mean, the assignment was open, but I think we all chose not to be super like we're going to ram an agenda or like thought down your throat. We just wanted to make entertaining, fun movies that played with, you know, a different type of mythos that we're used to. And Latinos being one of the biggest audiences for genre films and for horror films, we felt like, well, why not make a Latino horror film, a film for us? You know, I mean, it's for everybody, but you know, but something that kind of like explore, you know, our culture and our backgrounds.
Right. And where can we see Satanic Hispanics?
In theaters everywhere, September 14th. We feel like, hey, there's not a lot of people making horror movies for Latinos. We would really appreciate the support. We would really kind of need the support, you know, people to come out. And if you want more of this type of thing, you know, hopefully people can come out and support us. So,
well, this is one of the better ones I've seen, because I've seen a lot and you're like eye rolling. But well, even the Hollywood versions like La Llorona, it was horrible. I was like, my mom could write a better story than like Hollywood La Llorona. It was horrible.
Yeah, we felt we want to take the reins back and take the narrative back and let us tell our stories, you know. So
yeah,
I always wondered how La Llorona got to LA. Like when I watched that movie, I was like,
I always wonder how, like, the El Cucuy. People are not talking about El Cucuy, but growing up, it was always El Coco. You know?
Right, sure.
And suddenly it made it to the US and it became El Cucuy, and people are talking about El Cucuy, and I'm like, well, I think that's the American version, because like growing up, it was like, ¿quién le tiene miedo al coco? You know?
Así es.
So I don't know. I think all these monsters come here. And by the way, other monsters like El Chupacabra, everyone for some reason assumes El Chupacabra is Mexican. It's not, it's Puerto Rican. And it's not that old. It started in the 90s. So growing up, I didn't have a chupacabra, but you know, it's everything arrives here and gets filtered through the American lens, I guess, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to be as authentic as possible with our stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we didn't see chupacabras in La Llorona, because that's been done to death. So
exactly.
Maybe
we'll see Coco in the next movie, though. Who knows? So.
Coco, exactly. All right, guys. Well, congratulations. Great film.
Thank
and funny. Scary and funny. The two ingredients that we need in a horror movie.
That's wonderful. Thank you.